Burger King. It's the second largest fast food burger chain in the world, feeding 11 million people daily from more than 18,000 outlets in over 100 countries.
I think Burger King is delicious but underrated.
It's good food. I always get my belly full in there.
When it comes to selling burgers, Burger King is the biggest challenger on our high streets, boldly taking on McDonald's with less than half as many restaurants.
It's a Pepsi to McDonald's Coke. It's an Avis. We try harder.
How did this all-American burger chain win over the Brits?
You've got to do something controversial to stand out. You've got to court controversy.
We go behind the counter in Burger King restaurants across the country to reveal the secrets of this fast food giant. What goes into a Whopper?
We cut the tomatoes and the onions fresh every morning.
How do the burgers get their flame-grilled taste?
Fully flamed, it's like a barbecue if you like.
We're on the front lines with staff to bust the myths. From how they keep the food fresh...
Fast food is really good at finding mechanisms to ensure that any food that's on premises is being sold.
...to where their meat really comes from.
Wow. I mean, I'm a little scared to answer that question, but I do know that it tastes pretty good.
And the tactics they use to take on the competition. Across the world, Burger King has been serving customers for nearly 70 years. And the cornerstone of their success is an item that has always taken centre stage: the Whopper.
I think the Whopper is such a golden asset for Burger King. As a product, it's probably one of the best known across all of the quick service outlets. I think they've even got marketing, home of the Whopper. This is big business for them.
The Whopper is literally in your face at every single touch point. Whenever you visit a Burger King store, whenever you see anything in their ads, everything shouts and screams Whopper at you. They know that it's iconic. They never, ever let it drop. They always show a Burger King being eaten with two hands because they want it to look bigger than its competitors.
Burger King wants the Whopper to be foremost in our minds. So what do you think of when you hear the phrase Burger King?
The Whopper burger.
I would say the Whopper.
Yeah, the Whopper. Probably the Whopper. I think of a double Whopper when you say Burger King.
While McDonald's has always trumped Burger King for sales in the Battle of the Burgers, the Whopper has kept Burger King in the fight. Arriving on the scene in 1957, 11 years ahead of the Big Mac, they sell over $1 billion a year. To find out what distinguishes the Whopper from its rival, we've been given special access to the main event, the Whopper Station. Crew member Claire has worked for Burger King for more than 3 years and is a Whopper whiz. She's going to show us how to make the perfect Whopper. And it all begins with the fillings.
We cut the tomatoes and the onions fresh every morning. All the lettuce is freshly packed, and we change it every single morning. There's nothing left from the day before.
The burgers themselves arrive frozen from the factory in boxes of 400. Up to 16 patties are stacked on top of each other in a process called shingle stacking as they're fed into the grill.
One of the ways that the Whopper stands out against its main rival, the Big Mac, is it is, to give it credit, a whopping great big bit of beef. I know tons of people who go to a McDonald's and they're not extraordinarily greedy, but they buy a Big Mac and they say that's not enough. Like crucial extra 20 grams of beef. Most people have a Whopper, that's kind of enough.
At the Whopper Station, the crew are able to build these iconic burgers in seconds. It's a carefully choreographed process.
Once we get an order through for a Whopper, it will come up on this screen here. And we have our buns just here. So what we do when it comes up is just take one and put it in the toaster. And while that's going through, we get our sheet ready to make it. Usually takes about 10-15 seconds for the bun to be toasted.
With the bun done, the race is on to construct the Whopper.
They say on average it takes, I think it's 23 to 25 seconds. I have heard that the record for it is 13 seconds. Mine's is 15 seconds. I can't go lower than that just now, but I have been timing myself. So we use 1 bit of meat and 4 pickles, which we separate out, tomato ketchup, and 3 onions. You can add on cheese or bacon, but that is just your standard Whopper. And we just fold it up and it goes down the chute.
From the size of their patties to their fresh fillings, Burger King has made delivering the Whopper their primary objective. And for years, they've had a persuasive message to help them stand out. Give the customers what they want.
So in contrast to all the other fast food chains that already had a footfall in the UK, be it Wimpy's, McDonald's, KFC, the idea was that you could customize your burger and somehow that made it a premium experience.
You can tailor it. And that means that we're able to take this out, take that out, add that in. And that slows things down. So their system is built to try to make that as quick as possible. It's a difficult, complicated system, but they have had a lot of experience in getting it right.
Burger King have been customising burgers for nearly 70 years and know how to tailor your burger fast. Even so, the crew in the back don't always jump for joy when you do order your way.
It does get quite tedious for the kitchen staff because they're always like in a constant flow, and like a customised burger, they have to concentrate more and make sure they do it correctly.
After the break, everyone has a theory.
It's a flavouring, not a...
Yeah, they just make it taste like it's flame grilled.
Yeah.
But we reveal the truth behind Burger King's flame-grilled taste. And how Burger King delivers hundreds of identical meals every day. With over 1 billion Whoppers sold around the world each year, there's no doubt it's Burger King's star product. But the real secret to Burger King's success is the way the burgers are cooked.
If you think about Burger King as a brand, I bet you the first thing that comes into your head is flames everywhere, because that is what they major on. So visually, they major on it. Taste in their restaurants, they major on it. Everything that they talk about themselves as a brand is all about being flame grilled.
The brand likes to trade on its flame-grilled image, but the public have long been sceptical.
Well, they say they flame grill it, which I don't believe.
It's a flavouring, not a...
Yeah, rather than actually flame grilling it, they just make it taste like it's flame grilled.
Yeah.
I think they just chuck it in the microwave, if I'm honest.
Fed up with the conspiracy theories, last year Burger King decided it was time to reveal the secret ingredient in their best-selling burger.
You know that smoky, tasty flavour you get in a Whopper?
Yeah.
That's not smoke.
It is.
That's liquid. It's like liquid smoke. They get it from the internet on the computer, and every morning somebody just dips the beef into its own smoky little beef bath.
No secrets. It's just fire.
Burger King are so proud of their flame-grilled burgers, it's written all over their restaurants. But what does this fiery process really bring to the table? Barbecue expert Jen Taylor has been flame-cooking burgers for 15 years and is fire master at her own cookery school in Bristol. We asked her to explain how the magic works.
Flame grilling, it's a very evocative term, isn't it? It's a kind of really authentic way of cooking. It's how cooking began, with flames and fire and that. So what you're getting when you're kind of flame grilling here is actually a browning reaction, and that is essentially creating more taste and more flavour. That reaction is called the Maillard reaction. And what happens is, in really simple terms, you've got a protein and a sugar molecule. They clash together, making hundreds and hundreds of new flavour molecules. And it's, you know, it's happening here, this lovely browning. That's flavour.
Jen is browning her burger on a barbecue using hot coals. But Burger King have found a way to automate this process using direct flames, speeding up the cook time while adding a unique smoky flavour. Burger King arrived on the scene in 1954. Back then, it was called Insta Burger King due to their unique method of cooking burgers.
So every other fast food joint, they fried a burger on a big hot plate. And you go into McDonald's, you will still see the burgers being flipped on a big hot plate. Burger King, it's a grill or a broiler, as they say over in America. And the very first successful franchisee in the US invented a machine that could grill the burgers, both sides at the same time, really quickly.
The Whopper is cooked in what I can only liken to one of those hotel toaster machines, except that it has flames in it. So it's a giant broiler, and the burgers sit on this tray, and they go round, and there's a flame underneath, and there's a flame on top, so they're cooked on both sides, and then they come to the end, and they fall off into the juices from all the other Whoppers. So what you're getting is genuinely flame grilled, and then it's soaked and juicy because it's in the juice from the grilling process.
The burgers sit on a chain as they move through the broiler. By exposing the patties to direct flames at an intense heat of over 300 degrees, the broiler can produce 16 grilled burgers in half the time it's taken our fire expert to hand-cook her burger.
If you lift it up, you can actually see the flames are rising to cook the meat. Fully flamed, it's like a barbecue, if you like. It can tend to get quite hot, yes. You do get very warm, but I think you just get used to it eventually.
It's not just like steam, it's actual like flames under machine. So yeah, we do feel the warmth and the hotness. We do have like a lot of people who just quickly just run to the chiller just to cool down for like maybe 5 seconds before the manager shouts and to come back.
Like Burger King, Jen also cooks her burgers cold and constantly moves them around the grill. And there's a science to this as well.
The colder it is, the more time you've got to build up that browned crust without overcooking the centre. Nature wants to create an equilibrium. The heat goes into the meat and it cools down the surface. So by moving it around the grill, you're kind of maximising the amount of kind of heat and the efficiency of that browning process. So when you're grilling, you know, that Maillard reaction happens quickly, it happens efficiently. Browned meat tastes of more, and that's why we love it.
Producing the perfect flame-grilled patty in your back garden is one thing, but to succeed as a fast food chain, you have to deliver the same experience every time, and none more so than the Whopper. But when it comes to beef, customers always seem to get confused.
Is it British? Like fresh, British, and no horse meat in it?
Wow. I mean, I'm a little scared to answer that question. I'm not exactly sure where it's from, but I do know that it tastes pretty good. So I'm hoping that it's a good quality for the customers.
They don't advertise themselves as having kind of free-range animals and all that, and they're not going to, let's be honest.
Thankfully, there's no mystery in the meat behind these burgers. It is indeed 100% British and Irish beef. And the cows do see green fields. In fact, all the Whoppers made in the UK come from just one factory in Yorkshire, Dove Cote Park. From within a dedicated Whopper wing, 10,000 identical patties travel down the line every hour. Dimples are added to help the burgers cook more evenly, before the patties pass through a freezer tunnel and are then packaged up, ready to be sent out to Burger King's 508 restaurants. It's not just the food items that need to be streamlined. Service has to be slick when you're delivering hundreds of identical meals each day. And when you're a fast food chain, people aren't willing to wait long.
So fast food is a real art and a science. What you have here is a military operation, an assembly line in which different operatives do different things. It starts with the crew at the back, but even the checkout staff are part of that slick process to assemble each of the products.
Quick service restaurants are exactly that. And the secret to success is trying to make sure everything is ready to go and that you've got what we call aces in the places. The right people in the right part of kitchen or front of house or on the drive-through system who are going to be as efficient as possible in those places.
The team is made up of crew members who can work at any station at any level. Every morning, the manager assigns the crew a station or board based on their strengths. The key to mission success is picking the right people for each job. But there are two words no crew member wants to hear.
When you come in during a busy period and the manager tells you, right, you need to work dining area or DA. On a really busy day, I could be emptying the bin maybe 2 to 3 times an hour. So there's like maybe 3 or 4 bins throughout the whole store. And it's kind of like a pinball machine. You need to go all around making sure it's all emptied out.
At peak periods, it's up to the manager to marshal the crew.
When I was working in the fast food sector, we would know things like, was there a big football match in the area? When was the traffic going to be particularly high at that point? So that you could, again, put your labour resource around those, what we call hotspots or sweet spots at time of the day. You could witness a sea of people approach the glass-fronted restaurant in their thousands at the end of a football match, and woe betide if you ran out of a Coke or a burger.
For our staff, we always make sure that every shift is rush ready. That's what we call it. So it's always about prepping for the shift ahead. And then as soon as lunch rush is over, you're getting prepped in time for dinner, you're getting cleaned, changed over, ready for the next rush.
It's either a well-oiled machine or like a war zone. It's a lot of teamwork, communication, and a lot of like trust.
And when the rush is over, the prep begins again for the next day in the great Burger King circle of life. Burger King may be rush ready, but so is its arch rival McDonald's. So, how do these burger giants compare when you put service aside? Having worked up an appetite, we asked the University of Sheffield's American football team to take part in our All-American taste test.
You know what, Dimitri, I'll take that. That was good.
First up, it's the classic McDonald's Big Mac. 2 beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, a slice of cheese, pickles and onions, all on a sesame seed bun. And priced at a modest £3.49 in the team's local outlet.
It's a good burger. Yeah, I would have taken out the gherkins and the lettuce, but the burger content itself was very good.
I like the sauce in it and the fact that it's like double stacked as well. It's nice and thick.
And coming in 40% more expensive at £5.99 in their local Burger King, but with an extra inch on the Big Mac, it's the Whopper. 1 flame-grilled beef patty with the customer's choice of fresh-cut tomatoes, lettuce, onions, pickles and sauces, also on a soft sesame seed bun.
I was expecting that to be worse than the Big Mac, but I actually did prefer it. If I'm hungry, I think the Burger King hits the spot more. Feels like it kind of fills you up more.
Burger King is a lot more expensive, so you do take that into account when you know what you're buying. So with McDonald's, you can get more for your money. For me, I'd rather eat more for my money than pay for a quality that's a lot smaller.
Although you pay more for your money, I do feel like the quality of the meat is better because like Burger King was more like closer to £10 like every time, whereas McDonald's, you know, it's a bit cheaper basically.
And now, the final verdict. So, while the Whopper's premium patty wins on size and taste, it seems money is the deciding factor, making the Big Mac the best option for our cash-strapped students. After the break, they've got fewer restaurants than McDonald's. We reveal the cunning method Burger King is using to pull in the customers.
You've got a captive audience. They're people who just want to get something that's going to fill them up, and they could be really fast, get it in and get out.
And the controversial tactics Burger King uses to stand out. In the great battle of the burger brands, for nearly 7 decades, Burger King has struggled to match the muscle of McDonald's. To keep up with this super brand and gain a foothold in the market, Burger King has had to think strategically about their advertising.
Burger King actually spend a lot less on advertising than a lot of their competitors. So they spend a fraction of what McDonald's spend. But what Burger King focuses on is tapping into kind of cultural moments, being humorous and being interesting and doing PR stunts and that kind of thing. You've got to do something controversial to stand out. You've got to court controversy, and that's something that Burger King does to great effect.
It's a challenger brand. It's a Pepsi to McDonald's Coke. It's an Avis. It's a we try harder. And how they try harder is really interesting. It is the brand's cheekiness, that tongue-in-cheek, funny, provocative streak to it that really gives it its identity.
But when Burger King launched in the UK in 1977, their ads had a distinctly American personality.
We've always had this fascination, this love of American brands. It was something that we'd see in films, and they did a lot in terms of placement in films so that we'd recognise that brand coming through as part of the pop culture. In recent years, Burger King have really worked the social media tone of voice.
And in true Burger King fashion, it wasn't enough to just poke fun at their rivals. To win over the local market, they went one step further and turned that playful wit on themselves.
Burger King have an incredible ability to have that kind of self-deprecating sense of humour that British people really, really respond to and really, really love.
The challenging position that Burger King take is very much a UK way of doing things. Costa Coffee did it when Starbucks were the market leaders in the UK, and they took the approach of being slightly tongue-in-cheek and saying that we were the better ones, even though they were much smaller. And then they went on to overtake Starbucks. So that opportunity is there for Burger King.
To discover some of the latest tactics Burger King are using to woo customers, we've been given access to their social media agency. Adam Klein heads up the team who look after all of Burger King's accounts in the UK, from TikTok to Twitter.
Our social media team is constantly listening to see what the conversation is. Every single morning, we do what's called a social media sweep. What's the conversations around the brand? What are people saying? Are there some good opportunities for us to react to? Often the expectation is that a brand will not reply. So when we do, we see that what we call brand love, where people are really excited by it.
But there's another equally noisy side to the brand's persona. When music icon Kanye West tweeted about McDonald's, saying it was his favourite restaurant in 2018, Burger King couldn't help wading into the conversation.
At the time, Kanye was coming up with quite a lot of controversial opinions on social media. So we retweeted his original tweet with just 3 words, explains a lot. And explains a lot really captured the mood of the internet. It went on to explode. And at the time, it was the most liked tweet by a brand of all time. I think what it shows is the power of social media. If you can capture attention, have a point of view, it shows what's possible.
2 years later, when COVID struck, Burger King's social media team jumped on what they believed was the perfect opportunity to win new customers. They told them to go elsewhere.
It was a time of crisis in the hospitality industry, and Burger King took the decision that rather than trying to just promote its own company and promote its own brand, that it was going to try and help and support others. Burger King and McDonald's have had a long-standing rivalry over the years. We've had lots of friendly sparring as brands, but Burger King put it all to one side during the pandemic and actually put out a post saying, order from McDonald's as the headline, and then it said order from a series of other well-known brands.
And in this sharing spirit, a few months later, they handed over their Instagram account to help smaller, independent restaurants.
For a good few months from the height of lockdown, when the restaurants were all closed except for takeaway, pretty much every few days there was another advert for another local kebab shop, burger place. And it was all about order from there. Go and support this particular rival to Burger King.
That was a really, really powerful message to give out. And that got such a lot of kudos and such a lot of eyeballs. It was their biggest ever engagement piece in terms of likes.
With this new interactive generation of customers firmly in their sights, Burger King recently decided to go one step further.
Burger King just this year rebranded for the first time in 20 years. That was a really iconic moment for them. In a world where they've got a bunch of younger people who are kind of growing up in a world of TikTok, they really want to be looking and feeling like the type of brand that the younger generation are going to want to gravitate towards.
So, as consumer behaviours continue to change, it seems Burger King are determined to change with them, adapting their image for the 21st century. And there's another way that Burger King has positioned itself strategically: price. Burger King's Whopper has a recommended retail price of £4.99, while the Big Mac comes in at £3.59. A medium portion of fries at Burger King will set you back £1.79, compared to £1.19 at McDonald's. And let's not forget your drink. A medium full-fat Coke in Burger King will cost you £1.69, while McDonald's charges £1.11 for the exact same drink. Overall, Burger King's prices are around 30% higher than McDonald's, even on equivalent items. So how are they getting away with charging so much more? The secret is all in the image they present.
The Whopper is the hero product, and it's consciously a premium product versus the Big Mac. And you get it in one big patty, whereas the Big Mac, of course, is two smaller burgers. So it really shows that they are hammering home that differentiation. They're saying this is a premium, it's a superior experience.
I think what Burger King are trying to say is, look, because our ingredients are purer and fresher, this is healthier. If you're going to go for fast food, of the options there, we are one of the healthiest.
This strategy may have worked for Burger King in the past, but in recent years, some new upmarket players have arrived on the scene.
So the market for burgers in the UK has become incredibly competitive, some would say saturated, over the last few years. We've had the introduction of Five Guys, we've seen Wendy's open just this year and rapidly expand. We've also seen over the past 5 years burger restaurants like Byron or Gourmet Burger Kitchen.
This signature cheeseburger from Five Guys, for example, costs £8.75, not far off twice the average price of the Whopper at £4.99. These fancy Five Guys style fries are priced at £4.50, while Burger King's are a more modest £1.79. And this medium full-fat Coke from Five Guys costs an astonishing £3.65, more than double what Burger King is charging at £1.69. We compared the food items at Five Guys, Byron Burger and Gourmet Burger Kitchen in 3 cities across the UK, and overall Burger King was nearly 50% cheaper than its upmarket rivals.
What Burger King are doing to compete against that is moving up from a price perspective, moving up in terms of the quality of the product, the breadth of the range, adding on incremental items into the menu that are more premium. And that's allowing it to compete quite nicely.
So it seems BK has found a niche in the market, squarely in the middle of the budget end and the upmarket end. But it's not just about what you're selling, it's where you're selling it. To succeed as a fast food brand, selecting the right location is key. And when it comes to prime locations, it's tough to beat Britain's longest road, the humble M6. Fast food fanatic Matt is on the way to Scotland with his food review business. To pass the time, he's playing a game of burger bingo, totting up the number of McDonald's and Burger Kings at every service station he passes.
We're officially off and running. We are on the M6. This trip today should be a real key indicator as to who is who in the zoo.
And it's not long before Matt reaches his first stop.
There we have it. Corley Services chalks up the first little win for Burger King.
Quickly followed by another.
We're pulling off the M6 at Hilton Park for some lunch, and there you have it. Burger King chalks up another score. I'm gonna run in and get some food.
With less than half as many outlets as McDonald's and thousands of brands vying for the same locations, it seems Burger King are thinking strategically about where they open restaurants.
Travel locations are really important to us. You know, we have motorway services, airports, railway stations. it tends to be high volume, so we get a lot of people coming through that haven't tried Burger King before, or haven't tried it for a while, they'll come by.
In fact, Burger King has outlets in well over half of the UK's top 10 busiest airports and train stations. Yes, really. Just think back to the last time you went to a Burger King.
Whenever you go to fly somewhere, there's always a Burger King there.
It makes sense.
That's where everyone's travelling. They always want food before they go.
Here at the Maillard station one.
In the services just outside, I think it's just before Oxford. That's the one that I normally go to.
After a quick pit stop, Matt gets back to Burger Bingo.
OK, so we're coming up to Stafford Services. Are we going to see our first McDonald's? Look, Burger King. Burger King, 3-0 up. Can't quite believe it. Stafford Services. I was expecting to see my first Mackey's there. Never mind. On we trot. I can see our sign. We've got our first Mackey's. Woo! It kicked off 4-1. Burger King still well in the lead, but they're on the board.
And it seems a pattern is emerging.
OK, I can see the sign for Knutsford, and I've got to announce Burger King 5-1 up. We'll see the scene of the crime, Knutsford. There we have it, look. Unbelievable! That's 6-1. This is complete and utter domination.
So, how is Burger King dominating the tarmac with less than half as many outlets as McDonald's?
With these situations, you've usually got large companies that own a number of service stations up and down the country. And usually what will happen is Burger King will come and do an agreement with that particular owner. And on that basis, they'll have a number of service stations where only they're allowed to be in there, an exclusivity as such. And that's why you'll see sometimes in one area there'll be 10 Burger Kings and no McDonald's and vice versa.
And there's another added benefit to landing these travel hubs.
You've got a captive audience. They're people who have to be there because they're travelling between two spots. They're really hungry and they just want to get something that's going to fill them up and they can be really fast, get it in and get out. So obviously when there is high footfall, in theory, the more profit you'll make. But sometimes you're paying such big rents and such big costs that it's actually not viable.
The trick for Burger King is finding properties with rents that won't break the bank while subtly increasing prices. In fact, their prices in airports, train stations and service stations are higher than other Burger King locations by up to 20%. It's a risky strategy for Burger King, but for now, it seems to be paying off.
And we have made it. We've travelled the entirety of the M6. Oh, I've got a glimpse. Ladies and gents, I can announce it is 10-1 Burger King. Congratulations.
So Matt has crowned his king of the motorway. But Burger King has spotted what they see as another opportunity in the location game.
In recent years, drive-thrus have become particularly popular and also more competitive. What's happened is drive-thrus are very particular where they choose to be, and they'll be on roundabouts or junctions so that you can access them from both sides, which is very clever. And it's a convenience thing, and the market for that has grown quite significantly.
There's just not the same volume of office workers, of consumers, of shoppers walking down a high street. People want burgers, but they're going to get them through drive-through. Very American idea, but it is taking off quite fast in the UK, and Burger King want to make sure that they are ahead of the game.
After the break, you can't quite put your finger on it.
They either cook it differently or they add some type of seasoning or salt.
So, what's the secret behind Burger King's fries? And fast food's embarrassing waste problem. For 6 decades, the size and sizzle of the Whopper has helped Burger King stand out against its rivals. But what's a burger without fries? Sold with every meal, it's the best-selling item on the menu.
I like the chips at Burger King. They've got like a flavour to them, they've got a crispiness that I always like.
They do good chips.
They're crunchier, crispier. They just
Saltier.
taste nice. Yeah.
They either cook it differently or they add some type of seasoning or salt. You know, if I was to cook fries compared to Burger King, it's not going to come out the same.
So, how do Burger King make their fries? This is Lamb Weston, one of the UK's biggest chip suppliers to the fast food industry. First, the best chipping potatoes are carefully selected based on length and colour. The potatoes are washed, peeled, then cut to precise specifications of 9mm by 9mm. The chips are then parboiled, dried and frozen before they're sent out to Burger King restaurants across the country. But one step in this process is unique to Burger King. High-end chef Gary McLean has been working with chips for 35 years. He's going to let us in on the secret to perfect crunchy fries.
When you go somewhere like Burger King, you get your chips and you'll find they've got a kind of coating on them. What it does is it gives you a crunch every single time. That difference between maybe going to a McDonald's or any of the others is fundamentally that coating. You know, that crispiness in the chip stays longer.
Burger King's chip coating is a special blend of baking powder, potato starch and water, which is applied before frying to give the chips that extra crunch. But how will Burger King's crispy fries compare to Gary's high-end chips?
The difference between a fresh-cooked chip and what you'll maybe find in somewhere like Burger King, they're obviously buying them in and they've been mass-produced. And the main thing for these chains is consistency. The potato changes, the season changes, the oil changes. So in that type of world, there is just no way you could be cutting chips.
After Gary has cut his chips, he steams them to remove extra moisture. Once dried, they're finished off in the fryer until they're crispy and golden brown.
Chips are looking good, they're cooking nice and even. To be fair, in the factories where they're making chips, they're going through the exact same process, except they're doing it on a bigger scale. You know, they'll be scientific in what the potato's doing. You know, how much starch, how much sugar. It's still a chunk of potato. It's just went through a few more stages.
At 9mm, Burger King's chips are a third thicker than McDonald's, and this extra thickness increases the cook time.
What I think Burger King are doing is they're pre-cooking the chips so that when they actually need them, the time to cook them is much quicker. So it gives them more control over speed and how long the customer's going to have to wait. I'm pretty sure when they're busy, they're probably just cooking straight through, filling up that big chip scuttle, getting it salted and getting them out.
Let's see if Gary's right. Crew member Kirsty is going to give us a demonstration. The chips are stored in a frozen fry dispensing machine. At the push of a button, they fall into the fry baskets in perfect pre-measured portions.
So I'm going to come over here and put them in and pressing my button. If it's a busy day, all you hear is beep, beep, beep. If it's really busy, you're putting about 3 or 4 baskets down.
After 30 seconds, Kirsty gives the fries a shake to make sure they don't clump together. Then she puts them back into the fryer until they're golden brown.
Just let all the oil drip. Just give them a wee shake. And then salt them. Not too much, not too little.
And there you have it, the perfect Burger King chip. And now for the moment of truth. How will Gary rate Burger King's fries?
We've got some of the elements, you know, that I think make a perfect chip. We've got a nice bit of crispiness, we've got good colour. To be honest, I'm quite surprised. They have got little end bits. Keeping the crisp here, I think, is probably what Burger King are doing. You're not particularly getting that kind of fluffiness or that potatoiness from the chip. But you know what? If I was to get that as a side of fries, it's probably getting 2 out of 3 right in terms of what you're after on the chip.
So Gary's given his seal of approval on colour and crunch. And given Burger King is producing millions of portions of chips each day, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Delivering the same quality across their restaurants is something all fast food giants take very seriously. But having such precise standards has created another challenge.
Food service and hospitality wastes about 1.1 million tons of food per year. It's equivalent to about 1 in 6 of all meals being served is wasted and ending up in the bin.
The majority of our ingredients have a best before time before we need to throw it away. So it could be cheese, maybe. I think it has a 48-hour best before time. Lettuce has, I think, less than 6 hours.
Like most major chains, Burger King uses software to predict customer demand to help them minimise their food waste.
Fast food is really good at finding mechanisms to become more efficient in their kitchens to ensure that any food that's on premises is being sold. However, that often means that food waste is being pushed either up or down the supply chain.
And when it comes to food waste, from farm to fork, potatoes are one of the biggest culprits. We Brits love our chips, consuming around 2.5 million tonnes each year. But according to waste reduction charity WRAP, chips are the most wasted item in fast food restaurants. Burger King recently pledged to cut 30% of their food waste by 2025. It's an ambitious target, but Burger King has one cardinal kitchen rule that could help them achieve their target. No matter how busy it gets, never pre-prepare a Whopper. And this means less food in the bin at the end of the day. But with such a consistent offer on their products, the fast food giants have another more obvious problem. Their name is all over the rubbish.
It's not just a packaging problem, it's a brand problem when it's out on the streets and people are seeing it and people are blaming it on fast food businesses. Luckily, most of these big companies are now recognizing that they need to do something about the impact that they're having on the environment. And that requires us to now think differently about that customer proposition.
With sustainability now firmly on our radars, Burger King, like many fast food giants, are running hard to keep up with changing customer values. They recently pledged to eliminate all single-use plastics by 2025 and reduce their carbon footprint to 0 by 2030.
There is so much consumer pressure now and awareness. Everyone's got information at their fingertips. You can call up a CEO's details and email so easily. It's a different playing field. The tail is now completely wagging the dog. And you can't just be seen to be doing the right thing. You have to do the right thing. You deliver on those values day in, day out.
And the pressure from customers isn't just on packaging and waste. Burger King is also jumping on the meat-free trend, pledging to have a 50% plant-based menu by 2030.
You wouldn't ordinarily expect a brand like Burger King to be introducing lots of plant-based options, but they are making a conscious effort to court new consumers, so people who are interested in plant-based food.
They have been quicker at embracing the flexitarian and the vegan market than McDonald's. You know, they have introduced a plant-based Whopper. Yes, McDonald's have started to experiment with a plant Big Mac, but it is very early days. Burger King got out of the blocks quicker than McDonald's when it came to appealing to vegans.
There seemed to be this assumption for a long time that just because you don't eat meat, that you might not want something a bit unhealthy from time to time. Of course we do. Making sure that there's a commitment in those restaurants to deliver a menu that's full and plentiful for everyone, I think it's really still an opportunity for the brand.
For now, Burger King's position as a challenger brand in the British burger market looks secure. But as tastes evolve, the competitive world of fast food will continue to change with it. And you can bet Burger King will be fighting with fire.